He called me broke in front of everyone. And the laugh that followed wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was how comfortable he looked while he said it. Like humiliating me was just another line item in his budget. Riverstone Country Club, charity gala, chandeliers, champagne, and people who smile with their teeth but calculate with their eyes. The kind of crowd that remembers what you wear, what you drive, and whether your confidence has cracks. I wore a simple navy dress. Nothing flashy. I'd promised myself I'd stay clear-eyed tonight. My husband, Nathan Weller, wore a tux like he'd been born in it. He knew how to make a room lean toward him. He knew how to make attention feel like a favor. 12 years married, long enough for my name to shrink into Nathan's wife at parties, long enough for me to learn that he didn't want a partner. He wanted a witness. I stood near the silent auction table, pretending to admire items we didn't need. Weekend at a lake house, private chef, signed memorabilia. People nodded at me the way they nod at furniture they recognize. Then Trina Mallory drifted close with a bright smile and sharp eyes. "So nice you could come," she said. "Nathan's always so generous." I returned the polite smile, happy to support the cause. Her gaze flicked to my ring. "Still the same diamond?" she asked, too casual. Before I could answer, Nathan appeared at my shoulder, hand settling on my back with just enough pressure to claim me. "There she is," he said. "My girl." A man nearby joked, "You bidding big tonight, Nathan?" Nathan laughed and turned it into a performance. "I would," he said, loud enough for the circle around us to hear, "but my wife keeps me responsible." A few chuckles. I tried to shift away. His hand tightened. He looked down at me, smiling like a benevolent king. "She thinks we're broke," he said. More laughter, confused smiles, and then he delivered it, smooth and cruel. "Honestly, she's basically broke. She doesn't even realize it." The laughter came again, some awkward, some delighted. Not everyone meant harm, but every laugh still landed on my skin. My cheeks burned. Trina inhaled like she'd been handed a secret. Nathan leaned closer, lips barely moving. "Smile," he whispered. "Don't be dramatic." So I smiled. I held my glass steady. I let my eyes soften like none of it mattered, because my reaction was the meal, and I refused to feed him. I excused myself and walked into the hallway near the restrooms, where the carpet swallowed my steps and the music softened into a distant thump. I found an alcove with framed golf photos and breathed through the sting in my throat. That's when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I answered, because instinct told me timing matters. "Ms. Weller?" a man asked. "This is Peter Lang with North Point Mortgage Servicing. We're calling because your home equity line of credit is 90 days delinquent." My stomach didn't flip. It dropped. Clean and cold. "I'm sorry," I said. "Our what?" "HELOC account ending in 4421, he continued. "Past due amount is $8,740. Balance is $92,300. If we don't receive payment by end of week, we proceed to the next step." "There is no HELOC," I said, voice low. "Not that I know of." A pause. Paper shuffling. "Ma'am, you're a co-borrower," he said. "Your signature is on the documents." The gala laughter echoed in my memory. "She doesn't even realize it." "Email me the copies," I said. He confirmed my address, then almost gently, "You should review the paperwork, Ms. Weller. This is serious." I walked back into the ballroom with my smile still intact, like a mask I'd suddenly realized could be useful. Nathan caught my eye from across the room and raised his glass, Smug, satisfied, I nodded back. Not forgiveness, strategy. The email arrived before dessert. Subject line: urgent, HELOC delinquency notice. There it was. Our address, the loan amount, the date, my name as co-borrower, and a signature that looked like mine if you only glanced, but it was wrong. Too neat, too careful. Whoever forged it had studied me, and still missed the small chaos of my real handwriting. I closed the file and sat very still. Nathan hadn't just disrespected me in public. He had attached my name to debt in private. When we got home, the house felt like a showroom. Granite counters, curated art, everything chosen for optics. Nathan loosened his tie like a man ending a successful shift. "You handled tonight better," he said. "See? Not hard." I watched him, then asked, "Did you open a home equity line of credit?" He didn't even pretend surprise. He sighed. "You've been snooping." "They called me," I said. "It's delinquent. They said my signature is on it." He shrugged. "It is." "It's forged," I said, calm. "It's not mine." Nathan stepped closer, voice lowering into that patient tone he used when he wanted me to feel childish. "I needed liquidity," he said. "It's not a big deal. We're married. It's our house." "You forged my name," I repeated. His eyes sharpened. "Your job is to support us," he said, "not question me like an auditor." That word was a needle. He knew exactly where to press. "I work in bank compliance," I said. "I know what fraud looks like." He chuckled cold. "You're not going to report your own husband." "You're sure?" I asked. He leaned in, confident. "Because you need me," he said. "Everyone saw it tonight. You're broke without me." He turned away like the conversation was finished. I went to bed beside him, staring at the ceiling, while his breathing slowed. My body refused panic until my mind built a plan. I would not confront him again until I had proof that could survive daylight. The next morning, I took a personal day. Nathan thought I was cooling off. He left with a satisfied kiss on my forehead, as if he'd patted a dog after it stopped barking. The moment his car backed out, I pulled my credit reports. All 3 bureaus, full versions. The HELOC was there. So was a credit card I didn't recognize, opened 8 months ago, payments late, and a business line of credit tied to an LLC I'd never heard of. Weller Strategy Group, LLC, with my SSN listed as guarantor. I printed everything, not because paper is magic, but because holding it makes it real. Then I called my co-worker friend, Mara Jensen. She didn't ask questions on the phone. She just said, "Come to my office." Mara scanned the documents, jaw tightening. "This is identity theft," she said. "Spousal or not." "He'll say it's marital," I murmured. "He can say anything," she replied. "But signatures and disclosures don't care about his charm." Mara slid a card toward me. "Call my brother," she said. "Elliot Jensen. Family law. But he knows financial fraud cases." I called. Elliot listened, then said, "Do not confront him again. We freeze your credit. We preserve evidence, and we check the county recorder." "The recorder? For what?" I asked. "If he's comfortable forging debt," Elliot said, "he may be comfortable forging ownership." That sentence turned my blood to ice. That afternoon, I drove to the county recorder's office, a plain building with fluorescent lights and tired chairs. I requested our property records. The clerk printed a stack and slid it across the counter with bored efficiency. I flipped through the pages in my car. Original deed, both our names, joint tenants. Then a document dated 6 months ago, quitclaim deed, from me to Nathan. My name, my signature, A notary stamp. My hands went numb around the paper. I hadn't signed it. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't agreed. Nathan didn't just want liquidity. He wanted the house in his name alone, while keeping me attached to the debt. I photographed every page and sent them to Elliot. He called within minutes. "Okay," he said, voice tight. "We move fast. We file an emergency motion to prevent any transfer or sale. We flag the deed as fraudulent, and you file a police report." "Police?" I whispered. "Yes," he said. "A report creates a record. It shifts the weight." That night, I packed a suitcase like I was leaving for a weekend trip. 2 outfits, laptop, the folder. Nothing flashy, nothing he could claim I stole. When Nathan came home, I made pasta like nothing was wrong. I laughed at his story. I asked about his day. I played normal with a precision that made my skin crawl. When he went upstairs to shower, I walked out the front door with my suitcase and drove to Mara's. No goodbye. No confrontation. Just an exit. Nathan's texts started before midnight. "Where are you? Come home. Don't do this. You're embarrassing me." He didn't ask if I was safe. He asked if I was embarrassing him. The next morning, Elliot met me at his office and laid out the plan like a blueprint. Freeze credit, change passwords, pull bank statements, subpoena lender files, file emergency orders in family court, file a fraud affidavit with the recorder, file for divorce. Then we went to the police station. The officer listened, skeptical at first, then more focused as he saw the quitclaim, deed, the HELOC, the other accounts. He took my report and said, "Ma'am, this is substantial." I signed the report and felt a new kind of calm settle into my ribs. Not peace, direction. 2 weeks later, the first emergency hearing hit courtroom 3C. Beige walls, cold air, a judge with tired eyes who'd seen every kind of betrayal. Nathan sat across the aisle, suit perfect, face composed. He looked like the reasonable one, the way he always tried to look. His attorney argued the quitclaim deed proved Nathan owned the house, claimed the HELOC was marital, suggested I was vindictive and unstable. Then Elliot stood. He presented the police report, the lender's documents, a preliminary tech log showing the HELOC application originated from Nathan's office network, a handwriting analyst's opinion. The signature wasn't mine. And then Elliot addressed the notary stamp. "The stamp belongs to Denise Hartwell," he said. "Ms. Hartwell has filed a sworn statement that she did not notarize this deed and that her stamp was reported stolen 2 weeks before the filing." A murmur moved through the courtroom. Nathan's composure flickered just once. The judge looked directly at him. "Mr. Weller," she said, "how did a deed transferring property to you get notarized with a stolen stamp?" Nathan stood, buttoning his jacket like he was about to give a presentation. "Your Honor," he began, "my wife is under stress. She's always anxious about money. She thinks we're broke." "Answer the question," the judge said, sharp. Nathan's eyes darted toward his attorney. "I don't know," he said. "I filed paperwork my attorney prepared." Elliot followed, with a second punch. "Your Honor, the HELOC proceeds were transferred to an entity called Riverbend Capital Solutions." Nathan's jaw tightened. Elliot continued, "Riverbend Capital Solutions is currently under investigation for securities fraud." The room went still. The judge issued an immediate injunction. No sale, no new loans, no transfers. She granted me temporary exclusive use of the home, and she referred the fraud evidence to the district attorney for review. Outside the courthouse, Nathan finally dropped the stage voice. "You're ruining my life," he hissed. I looked at him. "You ruined it," I said. "I'm just documenting it." He leaned in, eyes hard. "You're still broke without me." I didn't answer, because by then, Elliot had uncovered why Nathan had needed me to believe that. Discovery pulled bank records, emails, and LLC filings. What looked like random debt wasn't random at all. Nathan had been pouring money into Riverbend, not just investing, but promoting it to friends from the club. Guaranteed returns. Private access. The kind of pitch that sounds smart until it collapses. When Riverbend started falling apart under investigation, Nathan panicked. He needed quick cash, then cover, then an exit route, the HELOC, the credit lines, the LLC, the forged quitclaim deed. He wanted my name on the debts and his name on the house. He wanted me legally trapped while he looked socially untouchable. And the gala suddenly made sense. He'd humiliated me there because he needed to look powerful. Confidence was the currency he used to recruit investors. He couldn't afford a wife who looked cautious. After that first hearing, the court order gave me temporary possession, but it didn't give me peace. Nathan couldn't touch the house on paper, so he tried to touch everything else. The first thing he attacked was cash flow. On a Tuesday morning, I opened my banking app and watched my checking balance refresh into a number that looked like a typo. Transfers out, multiple, labeled internal. The account was joint, and he drained it down to the minimum like he was turning off a faucet. I called the bank. I didn't yell. I asked questions the way I ask questions at work, the kind that make people pull notes and reread policies. The representative sounded apologetic. "It's a joint account," she said. "He has access." "I have a court filing," I replied. "Emergency orders pending. I need a record of every transfer with timestamps, destination accounts, and authorization method." There was a pause. Then, "I can request that." "Do," I said. When I hung up, I felt the familiar itch of a compliance checklist in my brain. Nathan wasn't improvising. He was following a playbook. Isolate, drain, confuse, then blame. He tried the blame quickly. That afternoon, my manager called me into her office. A glass-walled room that suddenly felt like a fishbowl. "Olivia," she said gently, "we received a call about you." My stomach tightened. "From who?" She hesitated. "Someone claiming to be a concerned community member. They said you were misusing your position, that you were accessing loan files for personal reasons." Nathan. He knew exactly how to threaten me without leaving bruises. "I haven't accessed anything I shouldn't," I said. "I believe you," my manager replied, "but we need to document your response. HR will want a statement." So I gave them one, calm and factual. I asked IT to log my access history and preserve it. I asked HR to note that I was involved in a family court matter involving identity theft, and that retaliatory false reports were possible. I didn't ask for sympathy. I asked for procedure. That's how you survive a man who weaponizes perception. You stop playing in the fog, and you start building in daylight. At night, I slept in Mara's guest room, with my suitcase still half-packed, because some part of me didn't trust stability yet. Nathan's texts changed tone depending on the hour. In the morning, he was charming. At night, he was cruel. "We can fix this. You're overreacting. Do you know how stupid you look? Everyone thinks you're broke and bitter." He never once said, "I'm sorry I forged your name." Elliot pushed discovery forward. Subpoenas went out to the lender, to the credit card issuer, to the LLC's bank, to the county recorder, to the notary registry. Nathan's attorney tried to delay. Elliot pushed harder. The first deposition was the lender's loan officer who processed the HELOC. She appeared on a video screen with a neat bun and tired eyes. Elliot asked, "Did you meet Ms. Weller in person?" "No," she said. "Did you verify her identity?" "I verified the uploaded documents," she replied. "Uploaded by whom?" Elliot asked. She looked down at her notes. "The primary applicant, Mr. Weller." Elliot's voice stayed calm. "So the person requesting the loan also supplied the identity documents for the co-borrower?" "Yes." "And the signature?" he asked. "It was e-signed." "From what device?" Elliot asked. She read, "From an IP address registered to Weller Strategy Group, LLC." I felt my pulse thud in my throat. That LLC again. The same name that kept surfacing like a bad odor. Nathan's attorney objected to everything, like objections could erase math. Then came the notary deposition. Denise Hartwell was older, angry, and embarrassed. She explained how her stamp disappeared from her purse at a grocery store, how she reported it, how she'd been shocked to see it on a quitclaim deed. "I didn't notarize that," she said, voice firm. "I've never met Ms. Weller. I never saw her sign anything." Elliot asked, "Could someone have used your stamp without your knowledge?" "Yes," she snapped. "That's what I've been saying." Nathan's attorney tried to imply Denise was lying to protect herself. Denise didn't flinch. "I've been a notary 20 years, she said. "I don't risk my license for some man's scheme." I watched Nathan's confidence bleed in small, invisible ways. Not in court yet, but in how his attorney grew less theatrical and more defensive. Nathan responded with escalation. He filed a motion demanding the house be sold immediately to satisfy marital debts. A forced sale petition, dressed up as responsibility. Elliot filed an opposition. He attached the fraud evidence and the injunction. Nathan then tried another angle, service. One evening, Mayor and I were leaving a grocery store when a man in a polo shirt approached with a clipboard. "Olivia Weller?" he asked. "Yes." He handed me papers. "You've been served." Inside was a notice claiming I was unlawfully occupying the marital residence and had 10 days to vacate. It wasn't valid under the existing order, but it was designed to scare me, to shake me, to make me look unstable if I reacted in public. Mara took my elbow. "Don't," she whispered when my face tightened. So I breathed. I folded the papers neatly. I looked at the server and said, "Thank you." Then we drove to Elliot's office, and I handed him the stack like a receipt. Elliot's eyes narrowed. "He's trying to build a narrative," he said, "that you're reckless, that you ignore legal process." "He's the one who forged documents," I said. Elliot nodded. "That's why he needs a distraction." The hearing on Nathan's forced sale motion happened a week later. Nathan arrived with a calm expression and a new suit, like he was attending a conference. He brought a binder. He smiled at the bailiff. He performed. His attorney argued that the home was over-leveraged and must be sold to protect both parties. He painted Nathan as financially responsible and me as emotional, stubborn, clinging to a house I couldn't afford. Elliot didn't argue emotion. He argued sequence. He showed the judge the timeline, the forged HELOC, the delinquency, the quitclaim deed, the stolen notary stamp, the police report, the injunction. Then he said, "Your Honor, the party requesting a forced sale is the same party accused of forging the deed. A sale now would reward alleged fraud." Nathan's smile tightened. The judge denied the forced sale motion and warned Nathan's counsel about frivolous filings. Nathan's eyes stayed calm, but his jaw worked like he was chewing glass. After court, He cornered me in the hallway where cameras weren't allowed. "You're dragging this out," he hissed. "You're making me look bad." "You made yourself look bad," I said. He leaned closer. "You think those people at the club are suddenly on your side?" he asked, voice low. "They laughed for a reason. They know what you are." I felt the old sting. And then, behind it, a new clarity. "They laughed because you told them to," I said, "and because I let you control the room." His eyes flashed. "You'll crawl back," he said. "You don't have what it takes to stand alone." I didn't answer. I didn't need to anymore. Elliot was building a record, and Nathan couldn't charm paper, but Nathan could still charm people. And he tried. A month after the gala, Riverstone hosted a brunch fundraiser. I didn't plan to go. I didn't want the looks, the whispers, the polite cruelty disguised as concern. Then Elliot called. "Go," he said. "Why would I?" I asked. "Because Nathan is likely using the club to recruit investors again," Elliot replied. "And because public settings make him careless." So I went. Not for revenge, for data. I wore a cream sweater and simple earrings. I arrived alone. The room shifted the way rooms shift when a story walks in. Conversations paused. Smiles appeared. People looked at my hands, my face, like they were checking for bruises they couldn't see. Trina Mallory approached first, of course. "Olivia," she cooed. "I've been so worried about you." I met her eyes. "Have you?" I said. Her smile held. "Nathan says you're stressed, that you're making accusations. I just hope you're getting help." Help. The word people use when they want you to be the problem. I nodded lightly. "I'm getting legal help," I said, "and accounting help, and law enforcement help." Trina's eyelid twitched. Just once. Across the room, Nathan stood near the bar, surrounded by men in blazers. He laughed too loudly. He looked too relaxed. He watched me like he was waiting for me to break. I didn't break. I drifted through the room, listening, names, phrases, private opportunity, short-term note, high yield. The kind of language that makes people feel smart while they get scammed. I stopped near a table where two couples whispered about Riverbend. One man said, "Nathan said it's under pressure, but that's why we get in now." I let the words settle, then asked softly, "Riverbend Capital Solutions?" The man turned, startled. "Oh, Olivia, we didn't mean—" "It's fine," I said. "Just be careful. Ask for offering documents. Ask if it's registered. Ask who holds your money." They stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. Then one woman's face tightened with worry. Nathan noticed the cluster. He excused himself and crossed the room with that smooth predator calm. He smiled at the couples, then at me. "Hey," he said, as if we were friends. "Everything okay?" "Just chatting," I replied. He leaned in, voice warm for them, cold for me. "Olivia gets anxious," he said. "She panics about money, always has." A few nervous laughs. I looked at him and smiled, the same controlled smile I'd worn at the gala. "Nathan," I said, "tell them about the HELOC you opened with my forged signature." The laughter died. His eyes widened for half a second, then he recovered. "Don't do this here," he said, smile too tight. "I'm not doing anything," I replied. "I'm answering questions." One of the men cleared his throat. "Forged signature?" Nathan's jaw worked. "She's upset," he said quickly. "We're in a dispute." I pulled out my phone and showed them the court docket number on a screenshot. Not the documents, not the mess, just the existence of a public record. "I filed a police report," I said. "It's real. No shouting, no theatrics, just fact." Nathan's smile slipped, then snapped back into place like a broken hinge. "Excuse us," he said to the group, and he took my elbow hard enough to hurt, steering me toward the hallway. The moment we were out of earshot, his voice dropped. "You're insane," he hissed. "You're trying to sabotage me." "You sabotaged yourself," I said, pulling my arm free. "I'm done protecting your image." He stared at me, breathing fast, then smiled. And it was the most frightening smile yet, because it wasn't charming. It was calculated. "You know what happens when you embarrass me," he said softly. Then he walked back into the room and turned on his sparkle like a switch. I left before I shook. That brunch created a ripple I didn't see immediately, but Elliot did. Within days, he received calls from 2 people at the club who wanted to clarify whether Nathan's investment opportunity was legitimate. Elliot directed them to the DA's investigator and told them to preserve messages and emails. Nathan had recruited in public. He'd left a trail. And now, with my quiet interruption, that trail had witnesses. And then, one morning, Elliot called and said, "We're about to see the whole structure." That was the day Riverbend's subpoena response arrived. Then Elliot found the detail that changed everything. Still, the most dangerous part of men like Nathan isn't the schemes. It's the way they make you doubt your own perception. Some nights, lying in Mara's guest room, I'd replay his words. "You're broke. You need me. Everyone sees it." And then I'd open my folder and read the documents again, and the doubt would shrink. Elliot pushed for forensic accounting. A specialist traced the HELOC draws, the credit card purchases, the LLC transfers. Patterns emerged: wires to Riverbend, payments to a law office that wasn't Elliot's, transfers to an account in Trina's name. Trina wasn't just gossip. Trina was infrastructure. We scheduled her deposition. She arrived in a pale suit, hair perfect, perfume expensive. She smiled like a charity photo. Elliot asked, "Ms. Mallory, are you familiar with Riverbend Capital Solutions?" Trina blinked. "I've heard the name," she said. "Have you invested with them?" Elliot asked. "I don't discuss my finances," she replied, chin lifting. Elliot slid a paper forward. "This is a wire confirmation from your account to Riverbend," he said. "Do you recognize it?" Trina's smile faltered. "I don't know what that is." Elliot's voice stayed calm. "This is an email from Mr. Weller to you," he said, discussing recruitment of other investors. Trina's cheeks flushed. "That email could be altered." Elliot nodded once. "We have the original from the provider," he said. Silence. The kind that feels like air being sucked out. Trina's attorney asked for a break. When she returned, her tone changed. Less sweetness, more survival. "Nathan misled people," she said carefully. "He was persuasive. I thought it was legitimate." Elliot watched her. "Did Mr. Weller ever tell you his wife was broke?" he asked. Trina blinked, thrown. "What? Did he say that?" Elliot repeated. "In front of you?" Trina's eyes shifted. "He made jokes." Elliot nodded. "And you benefited from those jokes," he said. "Because if Olivia looked small, Nathan looked trustworthy." Trina's lips pressed together. She didn't answer, but her silence answered anyway. By the time her deposition ended, I wasn't shaking anymore. Not because it was easy, but because the fog was clearing. Nathan's world ran on stories. Elliot was turning stories into exhibits. And then, one morning, Elliot called and said, "We're about to see the whole structure." That was the day Riverbend's subpoena response arrived. "Read this," he said, sliding the operating agreement for Weller Strategy Group, LLC, across his desk. I expected more forged signatures, more damage. Instead, I froze. Membership interests. Nathan Weller, 90%. Olivia Weller, 10%. Me. How am I a member? I asked. Elliot's eyes were steady. To secure a consulting contract with Larkridge Development, he said. They required a minority member with your compliance background. Nathan used your credentials as credibility. My stomach turned, but a new thought sparked. If I'm a member, I have rights. Yes, Elliot said, and there's a clause. He flipped pages and pointed. In the event of a member's criminal indictment for fraud, the non-indicted member may petition for emergency management authority to protect assets. I stared at the words until they stopped shaking. Nathan had built a structure to use me, and in his arrogance, he'd left a door I could walk through. We file, Elliot said. Do it, I replied. Within days, we petitioned. Nathan's attorney protested, calling it vindictive. The judge reviewed the indictment, the diversion of funds, the forged signatures, the pattern. The petition was granted. I became the emergency manager of the LLC. I walked into the bank branch where the LLC accounts lived, court order in hand. The branch manager's eyes widened when she read it. She complied immediately. Nathan's access was frozen. Then I contacted Larkridge Development's legal counsel and requested a meeting. When I arrived, I didn't come as Nathan's wife. I came as the court-appointed manager with a plan. I laid out the facts, the court order, the oversight structure, the compliance reporting schedule I could provide, the commitment to finish the contract without smoke and mirrors. Larkridge agreed to continue the contract under my management, with strict controls. And just like that, the money stream Nathan had treated like his private faucet now ran through rules he couldn't charm. When Nathan found out, he called, voice shaking with contained rage. What did you do? I followed the agreement you filed, I said. You stole my company. You listed me as a member, I replied. You did that. He tried his old weapon. You don't know business. I know risk, I said, and you are risk. He went silent, then spat. You're broke without me. I paused. Then I said, Nathan, you forged my name. You tried to take my house. You tried to make me responsible for your collapse. And you still think the insult is the point. He hung up. The next major hearing addressed the home again, with more evidence now. The DA's office had opened a formal investigation. The notary's stolen stamp report was confirmed. Lender auditors flagged the loan file. The recorder's fraud notice was recorded. Elliot presented it all. The judge looked at Nathan and said, Your credibility is severely compromised. Then she ruled the quitclaim deed void, pending final adjudication, and ordered that the house remain protected, with possession to me, and that Nathan be restrained from any financial action involving it. Nathan sat rigid, face pale, suddenly smaller, without the room's laughter. In the months that followed, the divorce settlement took shape around the truth instead of his storytelling. The court assigned the fraudulent debts to Nathan. The lender began steps to remove my name from the HELOC after their fraud review. The club friends who had laughed started avoiding my eyes in grocery stores. I didn't chase apologies. I didn't need them. The day the divorce finalized, I walked out of court and felt the sunlight hit my face like a clean sheet. No celebration, no dramatic revenge speech, just a quiet relief. The kind that comes when you stop carrying someone else's secrets. Weeks later, I saw Nathan in a courthouse hallway, waiting on another matter. He looked tired, like his confidence had finally run out of oxygen. He glanced at me and muttered, almost automatically, "You always wanted to feel rich." I stopped and looked at him. "No," I said. "I wanted to feel safe." He blinked like he didn't understand the difference. I walked past him, heels clicking steady on tile, and realized something that would have made gala me laugh in disbelief. He called me broke in front of everyone because he needed me to believe it. Because if I believed I was broke, I'd accept crumbs. I'd accept lies. I'd accept debt disguised as love. I'd accept being the quiet wife who keeps his image polished while he burns the foundation. But I wasn't broke. Not in the ways that mattered. I had my mind, my records, my ability to see patterns and name them, my willingness to be inconvenient when the truth demanded it. And once you can name the pattern, you can break it. So if you ever find yourself in a room full of laughter that isn't kind, if someone makes you the joke to keep you quiet, remember this: you don't have to scream to fight back. You just have to document. You just have to move in silence until the truth has weight. And when the moment comes, let the paper speak. Because paper doesn't care how charming he is. Paper doesn't care how expensive the chandelier is. Paper doesn't care who laughed. It only cares what's real.